And here we are going live. You got Lady Hippy at the bar. It's my favorite place. So, how's everybody doing today? Show your hands. Doing good? Yeah. I know I keep saying I have to find a way. Oh, I see my butterfly didn't stem. I have to find a way to decide on what time I'm going to do all this because I keep getting a different time. Uh, just like I said, you retire and you think, I've got time to do this. And no, you don't. It's like that old accent. Yeah. Let's see if we can. Uh, Boy, it just doesn't want to play with me today. Oh my. Well, this is what my head looks like. Let's try this. What did I do on my podcast? I spent 10 minutes redoing the mic. How you doing? It may echo a tad. Let's see if I can tremble out and all that. Usually my husband did that for me when I was first working this. Um, I'm just hoping today that everything is going to be pretty awesome, I think. I did launch a little bit of the news, turned it off. There's some weird stuff going on everywhere. It's not just, it's everywhere. Thank goodness, amen. We didn't have anything since the tornado. That debris is still out there, of course. That's another story. Robert has to find time to pick all that and get rid of it because it looks like the house is just missing its wheels. It's so bad out here. I really hate a mess. As a Virgo, it's just something that just annoys me. The minute I wake up, I'm thinking, how much of that stuff can I get out from under that tree? Have a tree fall on me. Oh, she was good till she was 65. I wanted to say on my tombstone, but where I'm dressed right, covered down, because I'm a veteran. And actually, I've chosen cremation. I see no point in the other. But at one point, I wanted to have my headstone right. Wait here for a second. I'll be right back. Yes, I believe in reincarnation. I don't just believe in it. I've seen it proved beyond the shadow of a doubt. If it was 12 years and they were showing the evidence just like the rest of us see, they'd say so too. The reason, again, this is for entertainment purposes only. I need y'all to like that button, like. Get in there. There's a crazy old lady at a bar. Like it. This might be entertaining at some point. I'm going to be here all week. I just saw 5 people faint this early. And I cheated. I've said before, my husband buys me my Irish cream so I can have my coffee with a little bit of pep me up. Like right now, I'm doing our podcast. Hi, everybody, again. And I'm washing clothes at the same time, which most of them are the hand wash. So you have to lie them down to dry the sweaters and so forth, hang up everything else. And it's cheaper on the electricity instead of using the dryer. I'm just, the clothes that I'm talking about, I throw them in the dryer. I could dress the dolls. I could wear I think I actually have gained weight. I thought I wasn't gaining weight. And I put on a pair of slacks I had not worn lately. This is the shirt I chose to go with it. I don't like to, I'm not a t-shirt really kind of girl, except for it's like Cherokee and stuff like that. That's maybe something, but I'm really not a t-shirt woman. I thought I had a wardrobe. I could go anywhere. And I do have some things, that aren't something you couldn't go like rock mining in, throw on an older pair of pants. I have those things. But I hadn't worn him in a while because he had redone the floors and everything, so it's not so hard for me to keep up with. So I just throw an apron on now. You would not believe how hard it is to find an apron. Or maybe I should just go on my Amazon account. Truthfully, to me, Amazon is just a big post office, and we're paying a lot of money to get that stuff. But I got to admit, if you can't find it somewhere else, Amazon will find it for you. I give them credit for that. I've been wanting to also show my new cake pan, which includes an insert for cupcakes that my son bought me. He just brought it, I think it was last week. And I just haven't had time. I wanted to put it on Facebook as well. It actually made me, kindness undoes me. So if you're kind to me, I'm probably going to cry. I hate crying. And so, of course, he's opening these boxes and he says, "Here, Mom, I bought you this because your other one's just falling apart." And I was like, "Son, you didn't have to do that because, I mean, it didn't matter. He had to throw it away because it was broken. It wasn't his fault. That thing's as old as he is." But he still brought, I love this child of mine, he still brought the old cape hand holder and bought me a new one, which he opened for me and here at the house. And I am very blessed in my kid is awesome. I only know a way to express how much I love my son and how much he has put up with in the time that uh, we've been able to remember things back that far. I think he's got a better memory. But I'm proud of my son. Very, very, very proud of my son. That he has a high level position, just like I did. His wife also. She got her degree. She's got a very high. She's head of her department, like I used to be for years and years and years. I don't like somebody telling me what to do. I can't go to a job and apply for the flunky part, as I call it. I don't mean anything by that. I mean that it's a waste of my skills to have somebody tell me answer the phone. It's, this isn't rocket science, or can you use Windows such and such. I'm like, oh. I've worked in IT at two different places as well, but of course back then being in IT, it was, did you unplug it, plug it back in? It's not quite the way it goes today. Sorry to say. But I like the Chromebooks. Those are doing well. I'm using instead of two. The live stream isn't that busy in the morning, and it's why I probably have to snag an afternoon and make an actual time that everybody can catch up to me. What was it? There was something I was worried about, and I can't recall what it was now. There's so much going on that. Again, I just turned it off this morning and turned on music because I really don't want to know. At this point, I'm like, okay. Yeah, there was 10 more earthquakes last night. 3 more volcanoes went off. California caught on fire, and Japan got a tsunami. It's like you don't have to turn on this. No, I did not put that much in my coffee. I'm just like this normally. I do miss my Facebook friends. I haven't seen y'all come up there and like a thing yet. Come on. Y'all probably don't watch YouTube. And I haven't posted all of them on Facebook. I get busy. Excuse me. Are the trade-offs of treating worth it? Ubrelvy is another option. It quickly eliminates migraines. Unfortunately, in this house, and it's traveling experiences in this house, I've always gotten up at 2 to 3 hours early before I had to be at work. At least 3 hours before I had to be there. Back in the day, it took me a long time to get ready. So don't question me. That's pure vanity. I need sleep. I need lipstick. So I tend to laugh at my own jokes. And again, I'm going to try to get this on Facebook. I generally like to edit them. I actually watched myself do a live broadcast. I'm watching myself now, but it was absolutely wild that and I didn't mean to pull it up, which was the strange part. I pulled it up to go to YouTube, and it had gone to search, and I didn't notice. I just hit the button, to open YouTube. And when it did, there I was, and I was already talking and stuff. And I said, oh, okay. So I, sat down and I was like, well, I'd watch me. There's no ego left in my family. I took all of it. Again, it brought to mind what a friend of mine said is, you don't know if you're talking to one person or 2 million, and it's like, that's the whole point. That's what I love about social media. We can all talk. We can all learn from each other. It's absolutely fun. If I had a voice, I'd do karaoke up here. I think people have also noticed that I do not at this point anyway, drop any other videos that someone else has made. I don't like to do that. Oh, wrong side. This thing is backwards to me, and it bugs me when I got to try to fix that. Robert, I love brooches, and my mom's, I did not get it. My sister had managed to do that, and there weren't many. I don't believe any of them were expensive, but I would have liked to have had them. I meant to. But in any event, Robert has bought me several brooches, and I adore brooches. I think it dresses up things. And yes, I'm retired. This is how I'm going to pick up my mail. It's on the corner. Folk will see me. You think this is bad? You should see what I dressed to go to Walmart. Honey, can you zip this? Do you know what my new code is? None of these seals will work. Maybe I should change my purse. I'm going to Walmart. Even Robert laughs about that, But the reason I mention that is because, yeah, I do go to Walmart. I mean, that's basically where I run to, just at 2 miles. I have become a homebody at this point. And so off I go, no matter what, I'm gonna be dressed. He says, I was like, yeah. And believe it or not, every time, and I may not go for like 2 weeks. I might go every 3 days. Who knows? It's up in the air. But I literally have people in there who watch for me. The guys who will watch for me. They've been there a while when my grandson worked there, and that's my grandma. You help her. She's got a bad back, and I don't want her to be doing stuff. And they have definitely taken care of me all these years. They will come up to me, say, "Hey, how is everything?" Yes, my eyes are bothering me again. I'm sorry. And hey, I'm gonna, and they know I'm gonna pick up 30 pounds of cat food. And now my cat's trying to open. There we go. See, I love this stuff. Yeah, this is how I give my cats a shower. They don't see it coming. I request. So when I go over there by myself, generally I do, and I'm picking up things. These are 30, 40 pound things. I'm lucky to lift my butt out of the chair. So these guys are great. They'll ask, what I need, and they'll actually go take the cart and say, go look around, do what you're going to do, or we'll go ahead and load this up for you. And I mean, they're awesome out there. They really, and I enjoy visiting. And the girls will come by and they'll say, "You've never, ever in all these years worn the same thing twice." And I turned to him and I said, I hadn't actually thought about that, except for when I had put on my seventh outfit this morning and realized I had worn it once already. And they didn't know whether to laugh or think she needs a jacket where she can hug herself. So the point being is people seem to notice. I think it's that northern accent, and I'm pretty loud and bossy. So I think that may have something to do with it. I can't tell. I was looking to see if I had been smart enough to put up a tissue here, but I wasn't. So we just have to make do. And again, these artificial lenses, they're killing me. I'm having the worst time. And to reschedule the appointment, I've been trying to do that. Again, it's the VA. So I sent a nicely worded email. They called me. I'd be glad I don't do this in shorthand still, Print, that's another one I don't like. Like I said, I found that there was, as far as I could see, no exceptional news. And again, it's backwards to me. I said, oh, I didn't even want to do anything this morning. And I thought, well, that's just not right. Everybody else didn't end up on the news. So sometimes I wonder, I've seen myself, like I said, now I watched the whole episode that I had posted, and it wasn't so bad. I'm not as funny as I thought it was, but it was pretty good. The weight loss isn't helping. Oh, yeah, actually, it's a weight gain, but we won't quibble. Again, throw some comments in there, guys. Hit those likes. I got to get over 1,000 to get into the algorithm because there's other things I wanted to do on this channel. If you guys want me to drop videos of ghosts, I'll do that. If you want to see UFOs, I'll do that. The shadow people, whatever it is you want to look at or talk about, Put it in the comments. I promise you, everybody is important to me. Anything that you want to see, say, or do, it's important to me. This is what I want to do. We have social media, meaning we can reach out and do this live. It's so exciting to me about how much I could learn. So please hit that like button. You don't have to subscribe, but if you want to, tickle the bell. It's free. It takes 30 seconds to stop it if you don't want it to still do a subscription. Again, I'm trying desperately to get to like. So, like, share, hit the bell. It's free. And, of course, it's entertainment purposes only. I did say I'd be here all week. Seemed funny to me. Not so much to everybody else. I don't know what that's about. I wondered out there too. Did anybody else see the same things that, or did they do like me this morning and just go to music? That's about a day that yeah, like yesterday. I was like, if you do find the news, and I end up generally with the Israeli news, the Indian news, or the German news, because actually there's news after that. I mean, they actually do news. If I wanted to know something about Biden not still being charged, I could just pick up CNN. There's, we have a plethora of political channels. I don't know why they made the move and decided not to do the news anymore and still call themselves a news broadcast. That escapes me. Not catching on to that idea at all. Um, I also, and I've pulled up several other people's podcasts, just trying to make sure I don't step on toes. And I'm learning as I go, literally. One of my friends said she couldn't even do the hookup. I was like, me either. My husband wired everything for me. So he has a man cave. This is a dual house, upstairs, downstairs. And so he has a man cave upstairs. It's literally an apartment. He's comfortable. I mean, he just has beat cancer not long ago and finally retired. So it's wonderful that he can go off and go up there and be just fine because he doesn't want to be downstairs while doing a podcast. He won't let me interview him. I've still got two guys I was supposed to interview, and one of them just recovered from surgery, but they're both truck drivers, and so it's hard to pin down a driver, especially if they're independent, and one of them is independent. The one that's in has just gone through surgery has decided to retire. So we've only one truck driver, but I had really, really wanted to interview him. There's several possibilities to talk about besides how people treat truck drivers and the missiles they're guiding. I saw on TV again. I love that medium. A bus. Was it a bus? No, it was a regular truck. Had a regular box. Um, but it was regular truck. New, I think 23. Um, and it didn't have a driver at all. It did have a person in the passenger seat. But apparently it had already passed the test and it had gone like all the way across country into California. And I'm like, holy crap, it's the Jetsons. That's right, Darren. Literally, what next? We're going to get those fast walkers, as Paul Lazar talked about. Hey, shout out to you, Bob. Good on you for finally getting people to understand you. This man, I always believed for several reasons, which I won't go into now, but I always believed him. And I'm glad that he's had a chance to keep his wife, get a life, a slight career, because when he came out on Area 51, and I loved how he called one of the models fast walker. I love those little terms. But they prosecuted, I mean, not in jail, but I mean, they made his life miserable, and wiped out his past. That he had never had an education in physics or whatever, the whole thing was gone. He even had a W 2 form from, I believe it would have been Area 51, but he was on Section 3, I think, instead of. People think of Area 51 as the whole thing. It's not, of course. Um, I mean, he had Lear out there. Literally, Mr. Lear, the airplane guy. They were there and still are friends. And Mr. Lear got upset about how he was being treated, how his past was just gone away. Yet he had paycheck stubs and W-2s and stuff like that that we all keep. And his Mr. Lear, and this is a man. His father started the company, of course, but this is not a uh, guy off the street. This is a guy that works with the government. This is the guy that's designing those Black Project planes, kind of thing. This is Mr. Lear. So he goes into some general's office, and he's got Bob Lazar's. It was this two. Maybe two. It was something anyway to prove that he had been there. Something to do with money. I think it was his W-2. In any event, he handed it to the general and said, "See, he does work there, or did, and he can prove it, even though everybody's getting rid of things and pulling the memories or whatever out." The general ripped this piece of paper away from Mr. Lear, threw it through the shredder, and said, "I never, ever want to hear that name again. Dismissed." So Mr. Lear, being a very intelligent man, left the room. He was not military, but he was treated as such at that point. And the person that he had taken it to was a personal friend of his. He thought that was it for him, I guess. I think he wrapped that up. But these guys, Bob Lazar doesn't have friends that are, the next door neighbor. He has friends that are really high placed, in several different fields. And it's good to see that they did try to help and they did stand behind him. And it's good for me to see him and that he's okay, because I feared for his life, literally at first. I mean, I don't know if anybody remembers who the first Secretary of War was. His name was Forrestal. And suddenly they decided that he had to go to the VA, and he was, for some reason, in quarantine on the 16th floor. Apparently, he wasn't going to go along with things. Eisenhower warned us about militarizing the police, and they had something to do with that. And also, he had wanted to know about Area 51, the president did. And he had, put this title and created this place, whatever, for Secretary of War, which we really needed. This was after World War II, not long. So, of course, uh, we find out, well, not me, but again, the story goes that his brother's trying to get to him because he's explained things to his brother. Something's wrong, something's way wrong. They tried to kill him, I guess. He told what he could. Um, and so his brother's speeding there. This is, the 50s, I think it would have been. So things weren't like today. You couldn't do 120 in some things. He got there as fast as he could. But by the time he had gotten there, his brother was in there for a mental problem because of the war. And they didn't realize that he was really that bad off. And he ended up jumping off the 16th floor of the VA. Nobody believed that. This man had gone through World War II. He had a position of power. What happened to that man was they killed that man because they couldn't control this man. And I salute Mr. Forrester to this day. And mind you, he was the first Secretary of War. And it was all scraped under the rug. All of it. I think even just about the time that the brother got there, they had already cremated his brother. I mean, this was within hours. This didn't take, 3 days or whatever. So the government, again, is willing to get rid of its citizens. They're willing to use you as a guinea pig, which they've done for years, as everybody knows on the shots. And I've had those shots. They're fun. You only have like half your body because you're walking around. You can't use that arm after the shots. You're done. I hesitate to think what they're doing nowadays. I think that, well, it might be going back. Hard to tell. I like to have a little bit of background. I know we're early today. I'm going to find dinner up there probably sometime this afternoon if I get time. Yesterday I did get most of the house swept, mopped, vacuumed, Swiffered, and oiled because I like to do the wood in oils after I'm done. And this morning already, I've thrown the laundry in, so I'm almost good to go to say I can do these other things. Again, I've noted that even though I'm retired and my husband is now actually retired, things are just backing up on us. By the time you get the one thing done, you know, you got to go do this other stuff. By the time you get that done, it's like having a job. I'm saying, and he's very good. You know, he and my son bought me my starter kit for to do podcasts, and like the one young lady, Miss Cornelia, said she wouldn't know how to use the equipment. That's why I was laughing. I'm like, I know how to use it, but somebody else had to set all that up. I mean, and we really want to move me. I do. I want to move to the studio upstairs so that I could just shut the door and everybody would be good to go, especially me. Instead, I've decided to have a stiffener usually while I'm on. Today's a little early, so we're going to have to skip that one and go on coffee power. Well, it's got a little Irish ring. Yeah, I love it. I still think life is here to be enjoyed as well. And it's another reason that I hate what I'm seeing, both in my country and other countries. I mean, it's just flaring up everywhere. The Ukraine, Lebanon, the Israelis, Gaza. It's getting. I'm getting tired, and I'm thinking that the only thing that this actually is covered by is biblical. And I'm not one of those people who are knocking on your door wanting to talk to you about Proverbs 3. You can read, right? I wanted to know which one was the false church when I was like 9 because they kept throwing me out. Uh, my poor sister, because she was thrown out with me. And they'd come on my mother, and say, you come get your daughter. She's a communist. We can't let her. Swear to God. And my mom didn't drive. And so she would tell her, let her and her sister just walk on home then. She'd put us in churches that were walkable. For us back them days, it wasn't anything to walk 2 miles to anything. Like my school was a little over 2 miles from the house. And we used to ice skate to get there and stuff. I mean, all the stuff. It was different. You didn't have traffic like today and all that. So you might see one car, but you'd see it coming for 2 miles. They were so big. And you always, and I miss some of that. I really do. There were times you had to tunnel out. I mean, literally with a snow shovel from your front door. When you open it, it's just snow. I found those hysterically fun. And there was a lot of homes built like that. So when they opened the door, they're like, okay. So my dad, he's a smart, quick thinker. He decides to do a closed-in back door on the back wing of the house, and he and my brother got back there, and they did that. And mind you, they only put in one small window, so that Mom could use it in the summer to bring some of her plants. And it was so cute. He had a door as well. Okay, so it was enclosed in, had a small window, and he had a door, but it was a screen door. It was a screen door. And then the other part, when you left the back, you opened up into the kitchen, which had this big glass window in the door. And it was not a very big spot. So my dad's got thinking, I don't have to shovel us out of the front porch anymore. We had to shovel out of the back porch now. That poor man was just fit to be tired. It was really bad. Well, I forget, maybe it was 66, 68. I don't remember. It was really a lot of snow. And it had blown, apparently, the screen door at the bottom to the side and pushed enough snow on it so it couldn't close or move. And then it continued to fill up the backboard, which is where Dad's beer was, too, by the way. He's going to make sure that was cold. And so he still had to dig out. And they decided it was, and I too thought the same way. It would be better to use the front porch because the back porch almost immediately went, to stairs. Whereas the front porch, you had I swear this cat, her name is Pixie, and she's mad if she doesn't get off. Get down. All right, good girl, baby. You got in your bed. She does it for attention, I think, because she'll go in the bathroom and knock over 4 things. I have to chuck her out of the bathroom and open the other door, which I had 2 doors that go in. So I'll open the other door, and she'll be sitting there looking at it, And I don't like to tell it or move any cat if they want to stay with me. But this one, if you don't, she will not stop. You can hug her, squeeze her, kiss her, give her food. It don't matter. She's going to not, and she doesn't forget. She's going to go back to what she was doing You got it. And I do love all of them, but oh my God. That was the other thing I need to bring up. If anybody is watching at all, other than hitting that like and subscribe bell, maybe share with one of your friends. Hey, this stupid old lady's drunk. I mean, you can label it what you want, you know. Just throw something in the comments if you know of any way that I can help these animals get a forever home. One is very expensive, especially on a fixed income. Everything went up, tripled, but our income doesn't. It's just you're just screwed. I don't even know how people are doing it. We worked hard all, especially Robert, worked hard all of his life, and I see now my sinuses are very a problem. Yeah, I'm going to have one of those days. I hadn't anticipated this. So somehow I have to finish the laundry, finish the housework. Robert is supposed to run to a friend's this afternoon and get so help him. So the backyard is still going to look like the house should be on wheels. I'll put it that way. I mean, it's horrific looking out there. Been there for weeks, and so I figured out, maybe I could take some of it and get it down, things like that, and pick up and put the because so many plants died as well. So I thought, I'll line up the other plants. So it's just the dirt now. They died, and I didn't even realize myself how many I had. I hate to see anything that's alive die, but there was no way I could save all of them because of the way it had crushed everything. So I wanted to see if I could get like the table out and the shelf out, you know, maybe parts of like the door. I mean, there are still things that are in it and on it, and maybe, like I say, get the plants out. But it's a lot of heavy work, and we can't completely remove it until Robert gets a chainsaw and attacks that 40-foot tree. I think it's like 80 foot, but I'm going 40. Well, we don't do anything by halves. That's just, but again, I digress. Um, I was happy to say that maybe since I hadn't really changed, turned into the news, if there was any, it would make things happier. So again, today I've gone with music because the world is so screwed up right now. I don't even know what to think as if I was my granddaughter's age, um, and how different it was just between her age of nearly 12, my age of nearly 12. I had graduated high school technically like 3 times. But I wouldn't advance. I was like, no, because my friends, I would have left all my friends, and I would just wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go any faster. I knew I would be bored. My way of not being bored was doing next year's stuff. So teachers did not like that, I gotta say. I had one teacher; she didn't like me at all. I always worked for the office. That was always did that. I had been doing shorthand in my 6th grade, 60 words a minute, on this old manual that you really had to almost with a sledgehammer to get the gaze down. So, and for some reason, there just didn't seem to be a lot of secretaries or whatever they wanted to call them back then. So I would work for the principal or the dean or whoever. And this particular teacher didn't care for me at all, so she started some kind of junk. And it didn't turn out well for her because the president stuck up for me, and she started off. I never did see her again. I guess she quit. I don't know. People can do the strangest things. It's just wild. So I said, when I think of the difference in my childhood and my granddaughter, including the teacher that stormed out, it was my friends that were there. That they weren't in senior year, which I could have done in 8th grade, easy. So that was again how I did things was, and then I realized I could do junior college as well as finishing off high school, because I did that a couple of times just early. But I still wanted to march with my friends, with my class, and do all that. So I got a couple of diplomas that way. And I was on delayed entry. I was going Army. I was going WAC Corps, which they changed, put women in the regular Army with Vietnam Rangers as their drill sergeants. They did not, however, tell us that they were going to do that. So we were Bravo 3 the minute we figured out that we were also not to, as they said it, sachet. Of course, no makeup, military style haircut. The funny thing for me is how they dress you. They basically they give you're in your underwear. The guys are in shorts and shirts. So the women are. It's so funny, and I was so naive, and I'm thinking, oh God, I look terrible, kind of thing like this. Everything falls off. We finally went with a few of the shirts because I could tuck those and one pair of the pants that we could tie those on and put a rush order on bringing the sizes down for me. So it's hysterically funny, but this is how everybody did. And this took 3 days. And then they march you to where you're going. And we were going whack. So lucky I had a high school, I did track, I did gymnastics. I loved dodgeball. I used to love coming home with my face on right where they smacked me with one of those. But we had archery, swimming, fencing, tennis. So I had just, I was into all that and the karate aspect as well. And so I was lucky. And I had a couple of my cousins that came back from them, and they knew I was going to go. At that time, the wax were still open and some of the waves and all that. And so they showed me military style. You can call them exercises, workout, whatever. But oh my word, my eyelashes hurt. So I still thought I was ready, for whack court. Then I had no problem. But that's not where I ended up. And I told my cousins, had it not been for them, I doubted it, I would have stayed. We had the option of leaving and not going to regular army. And I think I know they wanted us to leave. And I had already talked to all of them. I was like, we'll bend a little, but we're not freaking breaking. Screw them. If they can do it, we can do it. I had never left home in the few years I had an actual home. I'd always been a foster child from 3 to 9, and then I was adopted. So I was a very timid person, I thought. Uh, it seems to me that I must have had when they say that, hidden their light under the bushel, because I slipped right into boss. I loved that and stayed that way. It was like, we will train when we're off duty. We will train and train and train some more until we get it right. I mean, we took medals for uh, well, expert shot. A lot of us went. I had it, and I had never even held a gun in my life, let alone a grenade. And you have to go at the end of the 6 weeks. You get attacked, and you've got to go in, and you've got to catch the enemy and disable the enemy, and then get some stuff. And I broke my knee doing that, but I still took out the machine gun nest stuff. But they played hardcore. Let me tell you, when you finish that course, you weren't scared of nothing. I don't care if you were 6'2" or 5'3". Nothing scared you. You knew you could kick its butt and keep on going. So, and be young as well. So suddenly I had this confidence that I really had not had before. And that has never gone away. It's one of the things I told my grandson, that it was a great way to see the world, get paid, and learn and interact with people besides the same people in the same city, in the same house that you've been in since you were born, and you're now 53. And I have a friend that is an actual completely accurate description. As I went to see my uh, sister's children when she was real ill, and one of them had to have a kidney replacement, so we were going to get him and adopt him. But his other aunt, Aunt Dawn, he knew her well. She was always there. She had indeed actually taken him to get things done and all this, and we didn't want to fight that. It was up to for us. He was 9, so he was old enough to make his own decision. and he didn't want to upset anyone, but he had chosen his Aunt Dawn. And we were fine with that. I mean, she took very good care of him. He turned out to be a great guy. I don't get to hear from them very often, but they're doing well. I'm proud of all of them, especially with the fact that my sister is no longer with us, but they're all grown. Yeah. So, but then I think of my son, and I didn't think I'd live this long, and here I am, with a 25-year-old grandson and 12-year-old granddaughter and a 45-year-old son. And I keep looking around, go, who's still 20 years? Who did this? I want that. At one point, I was covering mirrors. You can look in a mirror and you can say, "Oh, I don't look so bad." The other guy in your head says, "Oh, for real? You're gonna go in that? It's kind of weak." Hence the 12 outfits before I decide I'm gonna come online. And no, the question that they several have asked, do I think of the fact that I could be speaking to 1 or 20 million? And again, I have to say, I'd rather have the 20 million. I think how much I can learn. Oh my God. But it's a great thing that we have. Being from the baby boomer set, with the three free channels, black and white, to this is awesome, and I want to use that. I want to meet people. I want to talk about things. I want to talk about ghosts. I want to talk about all that stuff. Is Area 51 really there? Actually, no, they moved it. It was S4 was the other section that Bob Lazar worked in. It was S4. And unless you'd been there, you wouldn't have known that they had an S4 or any of the things that he knew. Right down to some elements. Unimpendium. When he said that, I was like, no way, no way. But it stuck in my head, and I did believe that. And then suddenly it came out that unimpendium had been discovered. And then I was like, well, he's definitely vindicated now. I said it offline, and someone actually started giving me a lecture that was had been on there, but it was under another name or some crap. I don't remember what it was, but whatever it was about, they didn't want Bob Lazar to be shown as truthful, and that wasn't the only element. And I have heard something about memory metal, which also would make sense to me considering how these crafts are. I've heard of a gentleman going down to a dome. He used to build domes, deep underground military uh, bases. And so they were called domes. And he couldn't figure out what was going on, so he went down. They were armed. I don't know why they were armed, but they were armed. Anyway, he went down in there to find out what was going on, and there was a huge firefight between obvious, what he said, aliens and our military. And one had shot him with some beam and had taken his hand almost off completely, with his fingers. A second shot went through him, and he showed his scars, but he was alive because a major sergeant covered him because he had run out of ammo firing, trying to help soldiers and himself. He'd already been shot or raid or whatever he wanted to call it twice by then. But that major sergeant, master sergeant rather, uh, he shoved him back up there. And you got to get out of here. We're going to get out of here and lock the top. And he died just as he was getting off the ladder and going to lock it. He saw the man lose his life. So the man died, but got him out of there. And no one knows that he didn't know either as to whether they had a chance of controlling it. Excuse me. So yeah, I believe that some of those are theirs and some of those are ours. Being a veteran too, I'm also getting a little bit perturbed about hearing them referred to us as if we're a terrorist organization. It was fine when all these men and women were given their lives. We had nothing to go to war with Iraq nor Afghanistan. Not a thing. Nothing. Okay. What is the uniform in Iraq? Anybody? Anybody? What does their military uniforms look like? Well, they're flip flops, jeans, and sweat, and t-shirt. Yeah, they don't. They're out there killing these kind of guys. I mean, this isn't a well coordinated army. They don't have uniforms. Come on. Same with Afghanistan. They're leaving a donkey or riding the donkey with flip flops and whatever T-shirt they've managed to grab if they have that. And yet, 20 years in both. Now, mind you, 20 years is two generations, by the way. They count generation by decade. And then, of course, it was my grandson's turn. And here I'm still hanging around. I'm wondering what in the hell they're doing. What is going on out there that we don't know nothing about? The other thing that shocked me was the idea of 50 kilometers of tunnels. Where I also heard in one day that they killed 300, I'm not sorry, 31, 31 or 33 of the hostages. Helpless people to begin with. If you've seen these tunnels, but they're completely black if they turn that light out. They showed the cages that they kept the prisoners in these underground towns. I mean, there's so many of them. I don't know what else to call them. It's not just a tunnel system. And these were not small. They had showers, they had food preparation, they had all that stuff, then they had the ammo. These guys, and it turns out that they had been doing this for 8 years. And just in case you're wondering, guys, yes, we funded that. So I don't know which way they're going here. I don't know why it has. They say that 15 countries have turned off their aid, but for God's sake, 8 years and the taxpayers of however many countries. Uh, the United States was, of course, the largest contributor, and the Palestinians were dying because they couldn't get food. Well, the food trucks were coming through; they were getting through to the strip, but you could see the terrorists on top right there with their RPGs and their Kalashnikov rifles. So it wasn't getting to the people; it was getting to the terrorists. It's just, but the terrorists get hungry, thirsty. So at this point, you go, oh my God. And the IDF is now against, I think, 3 or 4 nations are trying to take them. Again, I got to go with biblical. And the whole thing is at such a time where we have new technology where we found and it connected. And I've studied this for years, not just paranormal, but history. Like the Bosnian pyramids. They still don't want to admit they're pyramids. Yes, they're pyramids. China, pyramids. They're saying no. Yeah, they are. They're pyramids. And they're on every continent, these pyramids. They're not just pyramids. You've also got the obelisk. You've got the Great Pyramid. There's no way that they were going to make this a burial place for any king or pharaoh because they took their stuff with them. If anybody can remember what they recovered at Tutankhamun's, it was just amazing stuff. I don't guess I've ever even seen all of it. And yet, this great pharaoh who built this wonderful place, is going to go in his white pyramid with the gold cap piece. And hey, I'm over here. Don't bother my stuff. It's a curse. There was no hieroglyphics on anything. Now we know that the case meant blacks fell. I think it fell off. I think we had a solar flare, a huge one, because I've seen burn marks on some of the huge Ramses statues at Thebes and stuff. On one side, burned and thrown down. And these were not little statues. They didn't, as you all know, back in the day, we say monolithic now, but that's what it was. These things were huge. They were heavy. Um, it was close to being a diamond in hardness. And Christopher Dunn did a great service to us about that. He is an engineer. I think he's retired now. I really like him. And he went and investigated it, and like the Seraphim, and how did they get those boxes in there? And they're perfect. You had the ruler and all this stuff. So all that was proven that this was real stuff. How did they manage it? How did they get it in there? They couldn't put that in there unless they built up around it. I don't know if that could be done either. And I love Egypt. I've never been there. But the good thing about this is we can go virtually if we want to, which is again, like I say, I opened the channel because I want to interact with everybody. Again, I'm going to say that I'm running out of time for these. I haven't yet decided that I would drop this ghost, catch here, or that I would do one of the UFO videos here and drop that in. It's almost to me like plagiarism. So if you guys want to see that, let me know, and we'll do something about that. If y'all want to just have a talk and about the portals opening in Miami, the camels floating in Saudi Arabia. You just want to chat. Throw something in the comments. Hit the like. Subscribe if you can. Share if you can. We've got to have over 1,000 visitors, and we can't do this without you. And that is the part that I liked the best, and still do. That I can't do it without you. Most of us are aware of Woodstock, were at Woodstock, or was just a little underage to go to Woodstock. But that doesn't make us any less hippies. My first car was a '68 Super Sport Camaro. We women loved those cars too. I'm surprised they haven't brought those back because those are something else. It's nice that some are still left. Uh, Yet my husband keeps me in a fairly new car, and I can't say I disagree with that, especially because he hands me the big stuff. So I don't know. I don't want to make you famous. I get mad that I got to go down and pay for a tag every year. And I'm like, you know how much? I think he paid because the tag was from South Carolina. We're in Georgia. I think it cost him $200 to get the first tag because all these other charges came to play. I'm like, do the cops really know about you people? This is open theft. Like, it's the same thing I do when I go past the meat aisle at Walmart. I'm like, when are the cops getting here? Because I am watching theft in progress. I mean, so right now, I worry about how I'm going to feed the cats because I make sure Robert and we spend money we don't have, and yet these guys will come, they'll see the car, the truck, they come running. When I go out to feed them in the morning, sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 7:30, but they're waiting at that on the steps at the back door. I mean, I literally have to step over them to get out there. And 3 or 4 run in here, and now one got in here and stopped and wanted Robert. So Robert's got a new one, Gray Ghost. He prefers to be called Ghost. So we've got all of this stuff we're trying to deal with on a fixed income. So again, I ask everybody if you know of any organization that will do something to help these animals. I cannot tell you how much it would help. We are, I call myself a sanctuary now because it started with maybe 1 or 2 or 3 with the babies that were left at the animal kill shelter didn't catch. And it's grown from there, of course. But these are domestic cats that they're throwing out. And of course, if they have babies, it's because they've been thrown out. They're outside with a dude. Now, Gray Ghost, when we got him in here, oh my God, we got to come up with the money and to get another one neutered. And we had 4 neutered. We used, it was always the boys. But he had already been taken care of. So it definitely was a domestic cat. And I don't understand how people can just throw it away. In the background, the white orange that you're seeing is my what I call fancy, is a boy. But you do this, I don't spray out anything, so you have to have it fixed. So, but you can see him. He's a big boy. He's one of the sweetest kittens that we have. They're all sweet, and like the ones outside, they know that they're safe here. Like Gray Ghost ran in the house, and now he stays in the house. Fancy there, that orange and white one, he did the same. I had the kit, the big black and white one, was choking to death on a fishing net. I had to rip a seat out of the boat. I don't know where I got the strength to get up in the boat because I had tried before it. I was too short. I had to climb and all that. Somehow I grabbed the edge of it, just left up there. I mean, I just knew. And managed to, I had to throw the seat out because that's where the net was stuck and it was killing the cat. And I don't know how I found the strength to do it, but I managed to throw that, to get it up and throw it out. And so that I could free him enough to pick up the kitten in this big net. And it was on a metal pole, like you would clean your pool with. Get him inside, get him cut out, before he can't breathe. And that was, and I kept telling him, "Don't move, don't move." And I'm holding him and this pole. It's 5:30 in the morning, pitch dark. Run in the house, can't figure out where I left the scissors. Finally, I found the scissors and got it all cut off. And we had to bottle feed him. They had actually caught his mother at the animal kill center, had done so. We found out later on that we could put up no trespassing signs and things, but it was the neighbors that put up the cages or allowed them to put the cages out there in the middle of winter. And then when they caught one or two or whatever, they'd finally come pick it up. So God knows how long they stayed in the cage. It's still a nightmare for us. We don't want anything to suffer, but we need the help. And the animals need the help. They're fed, they're watered, and they have cushions and they have heat. Uh, the best that we can do for them, but it's also at the same time really killing our budget. So I ask once again, you guys are all wonderful out there. Throw it in the comments that you might be willing to take on a rescue. They are all beautiful. And I don't think you've seen too many of them, the ones that are outdoors. I'm sure you haven't. But they say, oh, a feral cat that you can't train. Yes, you can. And they'll be crying. When Grey Ghost came in and Robert picked him up, he started crying. I mean, literally, the cat was crying and clinging to him. And that broke our hearts because we have another 8 or 9 outside. And that twice a day we're taking care of, with food, water, and all, but it's really so expensive. If they had not doubled everything, it wouldn't have been so bad. We could have still managed it. But as soon as they declared the pandemic, all of the animal food doubled in price overnight. And they have not taken that back down because they got that price. But now we're going to have to probably take away the moist food because we can't afford to get enough of it now. It's just too expensive. It's $32 to get 40 cans of cat food. It used to be 15, and that would have been manageable. But on top of that, the litter and everything doubled. So again, I appeal to anyone that knows any organization that could help us. Please reach out to me in the comments and tell me so that we can do something to save some wonderful cats. And I fear for them every day because I don't know if they'll get hit by a car. I don't know if somebody's going to take a shot at one. People are cruel. They'll walk past them when they're starving and shivering from cold. I've seen it. Uh, the people that live in my division are some of the most cold-hearted people I've ever met in my life. So again, I'm going to have to get offline here and do all that. So, hit me up, hit a like, throw that comment in there. Any suggestions on the poor kittens? I mean, this is a sanctuary, but we can't do it forever. So, anything along those lines, if you can give me a hint, a couple words in there, anything. And of course, hit the like bell. Let me know if there's some topic that you would like to explore, anything, just throw it in the comments and we'll get to it. And in the meantime, try to have a great day. I'm going to go back to work. That means when you're retired, you work at home, so you should be real happy. But not really, not so much. It's just as much work as before. We just did it the weekends and the day instead of all week long. Have a great one out there, guys. Try not to let anybody tell you it's not a good day. I can't also thank everybody enough for even watching me for 2 minutes. Bless everybody out there. Keep you safe. Come talk to me at the bar. Good day.